Let's take a look now, since we've put in plots, we've collected information. Let's take a walk through the stand and take a look at some of the evidence that tells us that mountain pine beetle has been active here, because as of right now, simply all we see are numbers of dead trees, and we don't necessarily know why they're dead. So on this tree here at the base, we see pitch tubes. One of the characteristics of mountain pine beetle is when trees are still alive, they attempt to exclude the beetle by pushing large volumes of resin. You'll remember resin from forest ecology. It's a protective material made by the tree. It flows in pines. It flows through the needles, through the fine stems, through the wood, and it's used to seal wounds. In this case, the beetles attacked and attempted to make egg galleries, and the large volume of pitch pushed there by the tree may have been one of the factors instrumental in this tree's survival. Now, when the tree is overwhelmed by large numbers of beetles, we see that the pitch becomes less and less until no pitch is extruded on attack and the tree succumbs to the beetle. Okay, this tree is a good example of some of the evidence we can see after the fact. And this tree's been dead for a number of years, but the bark is still on down below here, and it has nicely protected these galleries. So here we can see the very, very classical galleries of mountain pine beetle, vertical, 12 to 30 inches or so in length. We see larval mines that extend outward from the egg gallery. And there are a number of larval mines sort of in a random pattern for each gallery. And then we see at the base of this gallery right here, a slight J. Now, remember when we talked before, I said, don't be fooled by mountain pine beetle galleries that do not have this crook at the bottom. So we see this one has a slight crook. This one has a slight crook. And this gallery right here has no bend or crook at all at its base. So simply because the bend is not there is not a good reason for you to discount mountain pine beetle when you see vertical galleries, horizontal larval mines, and it's in the host tree, lodgepole pine. And we have a live one here, short needles, 2 needles per fascicle, common throughout Central Oregon. And the bark here with rough alligator sort of texture to the bark, no deep furrows, no orange color such as ponderosa pine. So this bend in the base of the gallery is characteristic of mountain pine beetle in about 70% of the galleries. It's probably the point at which the adults enter and where mating takes place. So that would be called the nuptial chamber. And mating occurs here, and then the female mines upward in the gallery, laying eggs. And each one of these points of origin of a larval mine would be where an egg would be laid. So each egg would hatch, and then the larvae would feed outward. You can see in these older galleries, this would be the area where the larvae would finish its life cycle and create a pupa over winter and then emerge the next spring. So many of these may be galleries of beetles that did not survive. When a tree is attacked this heavily, we see that there is competition, and you can see here that larvae mining from this direction are met by larvae mining from this direction, and at some point there's no longer enough food to feed all of those larvae.